You sit in your favorite chair, the sun is shining outside, the dishes are waiting, your walking shoes are near the door, but still you stay seated, not because you don't care, not because you're lazy, but because something inside feels heavy. If you're over 60 and you've asked yourself, why don't I want to do anything anymore? Please know this: you are not alone, and this isn't your fault. Today, we'll gently explore 5 hidden reasons why seniors lose motivation and how to respond with compassion, not blame. Let's begin. Reason number 1: your brain chemistry is changing, and that doesn't mean you've given up. It means you're human. Why don't I feel like doing anything anymore? If you've asked yourself that lately, while staring at the dishes, while ignoring your favorite show, while sitting in silence, watching the daylight fade without moving, it's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's not that you're getting old and useless. It's brain chemistry. And the truth is, your brain is not the same as it was at 30 or even 50. And that's not failure. It's simply biology, and it can be understood, supported, and gently cared for. Let's talk about dopamine, your brain's spark plug. Dopamine is a natural chemical your brain produces. It's involved in motivation, pleasure, attention, and drive. It's what helps you get excited about starting something, feel rewarded when finishing a task, look forward to events, stay focused during an activity, and feel like doing something at all. But as we age, especially after 60, dopamine levels decline. The same thing that once made you spring into action now barely flickers. You may still care deeply, but you don't feel that inner nudge to act. That's not your fault. That's not laziness. That's chemistry shifting with age. What dopamine decline feels like in real life. You used to enjoy gardening, now the tools stay untouched. You plan to go for a walk, but hours passed in the same chair. You feel overwhelmed by even small tasks. You put things off, not because they're hard, but because they feel distant, dull, or too much. This internal fog can be frustrating, especially when people around you say, just do it, get moving, you'll feel better. But they don't see that your spark plug is flickering, not broken, but quieter. You are not lazy. Your brain is recalibrating. So what can you do about it? Gently and effectively. Here are gentle, brain-friendly ways to support your dopamine levels and bring back that quiet spark of motivation without pressure or guilt. 1. Tiny wins for daily dopamine. Every time you complete something, even small, you get a micro release of dopamine. Try making the bed, drinking a glass of water and acknowledging it, writing one sentence in a journal, watering one plant, folding just 5 pieces of laundry. Then say aloud or mentally, that was enough. I did that. The brain responds positively to completion and acknowledgement, not the size of the task. 2. Sunlight and movement. Dopamine's best friends. Light in the morning, especially natural sunlight, triggers your brain to produce more serotonin, which later becomes melatonin for sleep and supports dopamine flow. Open the curtains when you wake. Sit outside for 10 minutes, even just on the porch. Do gentle shoulder rolls or wrist circles. Even 2 minutes of movement can spark change. 3. Connect, even briefly conversations, even brief ones. Boost dopamine through social reward. Wave to a neighbor, call someone just to say hello, leave a kind comment on a video or forum. Social connection, even light, feeds the part of your brain that wants to engage and care. 4. Limit overstimulation, dopamine burnout. Ironically, too much screen time, especially passive scrolling or noisy news, floods your brain with shallow dopamine spikes, then leaves you depleted. Reduce passive inputs, replace them with music, nature sounds, reading aloud, gentle storytelling, like this channel. Let your brain breathe. It will thank you. 5. Talk to your doctor if the fog feels heavy. Sometimes long-term dopamine depletion can look like apathy or depression, and in those cases, small acts might not be enough. Don't hesitate to ask your doctor about B12 levels, thyroid function, medication interactions, mild, age-appropriate mood support. Needing help is not weakness, it's wisdom. If no one has told you this lately, your brain is not broken. You are not lazy. You are simply carrying a brain that's been alive for a long time, and it deserves understanding, not shame. So instead of pushing harder, try whispering gently, I still have energy. It's just quieter now, and I'll move at the pace of kindness. You don't need to be driven by pressure. You can be guided by peace, and that too is motivation, reborn in wisdom. Reason number 2, emotional exhaustion from hidden grief. when the heart is tired but hasn't been given time to mourn. I'm not sad, I'm just numb. Have you ever said that? You wake up, do what's needed, or nothing at all. You eat, you rest, you sit quietly. You don't feel bad, but you also don't feel anything. You're not crying, you're not angry. You just feel empty. And people may say, you're lucky to have free time now. You should enjoy retirement. You've got grandkids, don't you? But deep down, something inside is missing, and you can't explain it. That, dear friend, might be hidden grief. Grief wears many disguises, and after 60, it often becomes invisible. You might be grieving the loss of purpose after retirement, the loss of daily contact with children who are grown, the loss of energy you once had, the loss of your role as caregiver, worker, leader, spouse, or simply the loss of how life used to feel. And because no one threw a funeral for these losses, you never gave yourself permission to mourn. But grief doesn't wait for permission, it settles in quietly. And over time, it begins to feel like lack of motivation. Hidden grief doesn't scream, it drains. You lose the desire to cook. You avoid going outside. You cancel plans, not out of fear, but from heaviness. You stop dreaming, you stop wanting. And that can look like laziness, even to yourself. But really, you're not lazy. You're emotionally depleted. Why grief steals motivation? Grief affects the limbic system in your brain, the part that controls emotion, memory, and drive. When grief goes unspoken or unacknowledged, it numbs the reward center. It increases cortisol, stress hormone, which can suppress energy. It triggers quiet feelings of hopelessness or what's the point? It's hard to get excited about the day when your brain is still holding on to yesterday. So, what can you do? Gently and without pushing. Here are healing practices that don't fix grief, but give it space to move and soften. 1. Name what you lost, even if it feels silly. Write it down or say it aloud. I miss being needed every day. I miss how I used to wake up with energy. I miss her voice in the morning. I miss being someone's reason. Grief is often locked behind pride. Naming it unlocks relief. 2. Let yourself feel without justifying. You don't have to compare your pain. You don't need to prove it's serious enough. If your loss matters to you, it's valid. Let yourself feel sad or empty or confused, and don't rush to explain it away. I feel this, and that's okay. 3. Create a grief ritual. It doesn't need to be grand, it just needs to be yours. Light a candle for what you've lost. Keep a photo nearby that reminds you of who you used to be. Sit by a window each morning and say, I remember. Grief softens through repetition with tenderness. 4. Connect with others who understand quiet loss. Many seniors carry hidden grief, just like you. Reach out, join a local senior support group, comment under a video like this and say, this is me. Call someone and say, I've been feeling a bit off lately. Do you ever feel that way too? You'll be surprised how many hearts are waiting to be heard. 5. Move gently, even when you don't want to. Grief freezes the body, movement reawakens it. Start small, stretch in bed, walk to the end of the driveway, water a plant, take a deep breath, and exhale slowly. Motion sends a message to your heart. We are still here. We are still living. If you're feeling unmotivated, don't ask, what's wrong with me? Ask, what is still aching in me? And then answer with kindness, because grief isn't something to get over. It's something to move with, to carry gently, to let soften in time. You are not broken. You are mourning and mending, even if it's been years. I still miss what I've lost, but I also give myself permission to live with it and to move even slowly toward peace. You are not lazy. You are tired from the love you've carried. And tonight, you are allowed to rest. Reason number 3, physical fatigue. That doesn't feel like sleepiness, when your body is quietly tired and you don't even realize it. I don't feel tired. I just don't feel like doing anything. This is something many seniors say. You're not yawning, you're not falling asleep at the table, but still, something feels off. You don't have the energy to cook a meal, to go for a walk, to start a simple chore. You're just there, not sleepy, but completely flat. This isn't laziness. This is a hidden kind of physical fatigue, and it's much more common than you think, especially after 60. What is hidden fatigue? Unlike the exhaustion that comes after a long day or a bad night's sleep, this kind of fatigue is ongoing, subtle, hard to explain, and often ignored because it doesn't look serious. It feels like I just don't have the drive. Everything feels like too much effort. My body feels slow, even when I'm rested. I keep sitting down for just a moment and staying there all day. This is not in your head. It's your body trying to whisper something to you before it starts shouting. What causes this kind of fatigue in older adults? Let's gently walk through the silent culprits that often drain your energy without you realizing. 1. Nutrient deficiencies. As we age, our ability to absorb nutrients, like vitamin B12, iron, magnesium, and vitamin D, naturally decreases. Even if you're eating well, you might be underfueled on the inside. These deficiencies can lead to weakness, brain fog, lack of motivation, a heavy feeling in the body. Ask your doctor for a basic blood test. Sometimes a simple supplement can lift a fog you didn't even know you were under. 2. Dehydration. Many seniors live in a state of chronic mild dehydration without knowing it. As you age, your sense of thirst dulls. So even if you're drinking, it may not be enough. Dehydration affects your blood pressure, brain clarity, energy levels, mood. Try a glass of water with lemon in the morning, herbal teas throughout the day, water-rich foods like cucumbers, melons, or soups. Sometimes fatigue is just thirst dressed in silence. 3. Poor sleep quality. Even if you're in bed, 8 hours. Sleep changes after 60. You may wake up more often, you spend less time in deep restorative sleep, you might snore, have mild sleep apnea, or restless legs. The result? You wake up tired and it stays with you all day. Try this. Avoid screens 1 hour before bed. Create a calm bedtime ritual, gentle stretches, warm bath, soft music. Ask your doctor about a sleep assessment if this persists. 4. Medication side effects. Some medications prescribed for blood pressure, anxiety, depression, or pain can quietly sap your energy. Even if they're helping one issue, they might be causing another. Make a list of all your medications and review them with your doctor or pharmacist. Ask, could this be affecting my energy or motivation? 5. Undiagnosed health conditions. Sometimes fatigue is the first and only symptom of something deeper. Underactive thyroid, hypothyroidism, heart rhythm irregularities, mild anemia, chronic inflammation, early signs of diabetes. If the fatigue is persistent, don't ignore it. Listen kindly to your body and ask for support. How to respond. Gently, not harshly. If you're dealing with this kind of fatigue, don't blame yourself. Your body is not lazy, it's asking for care. Don't force productivity. Instead, aim for restorative movement, gentle stretching, walking in nature, light chores. Celebrate even the smallest energy surges. Got up and brushed your teeth? Wonderful. Heated a cup of soup? That counts. Called a friend? That's emotional energy in motion. Instead of saying, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do anything? Try saying, my body has been through a lot. Maybe it needs a little extra kindness today. I'm still learning how to care for myself in this new season. You are not lazy. You are not giving up. You are responding to a body that is doing its best after decades of showing up for others. And now it's your turn to show up for yourself. Reason number 4, the loss of routine and external structure. When days have no shape, motivation has nowhere to go. I wake up and the day just blends together. You open your eyes. The clock says 7:15, but there's no job to rush to. No school lunches to pack, no meetings, no clients, no place you must be. You sit for breakfast and suddenly it's 2 p.m. The day has passed and you're not even sure how. Not because you didn't want to do anything, but because nothing pulled you forward. This is the quiet loss no one prepares us for. The loss of structure, not a dramatic event, but the disappearance of rhythm, of anchors, of the outer schedule that once gave your inner self momentum. Why routine matters, especially as you age. When you were working, parenting, volunteering, your days had a built-in rhythm. Wake up at 6, get dressed, drive or commute, tasks, conversations, movement, come home, dinner, rest, sleep. This external flow organized your energy even when you didn't feel particularly motivated. Structure created automatic momentum. But after retirement, after loss, after children move out, that structure disappears. You're left with open space. And though it seems freeing, it often leads to paralysis instead of peace. You might say things like, I have all the time in the world, but I don't do anything. There's nothing urgent, so I just keep sitting. I meant to start something, but the day got away from me. I don't know what I'm even aiming for anymore. This isn't lack of ambition, it's lack of anchors. Why anchors are gentle, not controlling. Some people fear routines because they think it means rigidity. But after 60, you don't need a tight schedule. You need gentle rituals, touch points in the day that bring rhythm, purpose, and flow back to time. Because when time has no shape, motivation has no direction. How to gently rebuild rhythm without pressure. Here's how to invite structure back into your life with softness. 1. Start with a morning ritual. Open a window and take 3 deep breaths. Play soft music as you make your bed. Light a candle or say one kind sentence to yourself. This becomes your starting bell, a gentle I'm here, I'm awake, I matter. 2. Anchor your day with meals. Let breakfast, lunch, and dinner become rituals, not afterthoughts. Eat at the table. Use a placemat or favorite cup. Bless your food with gratitude. Listen to calming music, not the news. These become moments of pause that mark the passage of the day. 3. Choose one small focus per day. Instead of making a to-do list, ask, what is one thing I want to complete today? It could be writing a letter, folding one basket of laundry, watering plants, calling an old friend, reading a chapter of a book. Completion creates motion, and motion creates meaning. 4. Get daylight and movement before noon. Your brain responds best to sunlight and light movement early in the day. Sit on the porch, take a slow walk, stretch by the window, water plants outside. This tells your body, the day has begun. I am here. I am part of the world. 5. Create weekly rhythms, not just daily ones. Mondays, tidy one drawer. Wednesdays, walk with a neighbor. Fridays, write in a journal or call a sibling. Sundays, enjoy a favorite dessert. These gentle patterns help your brain predict meaning and look forward. You're not trying to do more. You're trying to feel present again. To wake up and know there is something in this day that is mine to touch, to feel, to complete. Your time is not empty. It's waiting to be shaped by you at your own pace. And if you ever feel lost in the silence, remember, you used to be pulled forward by the world. Now you are gently invited to lead yourself. Not quickly, not forcefully, but with grace. Create rhythm, not rush. Create shape, not pressure. Create days that don't blur, but breathe. Reason number 5, you've stopped feeling seen or needed, and that quiet pain can steal your motivation without a word. It's like I'm here, but no one really notices anymore. You sit at the table, the phone doesn't ring like it used to. No one asks for your opinion. No one checks in just to say hello. You smile when the grandkids visit, but then they leave and the house falls quiet again. You're not angry. You're not bitter. You're just unnoticed. And slowly, without realizing it, a dangerous feeling creeps in. If no one sees me, why should I keep showing up? That's not laziness. That's a loss of significance, one of the most painful, hidden causes of low motivation in later life. Why the human brain needs to feel seen. From the moment we're born, we are wired to seek acknowledgement. A parent's smile, a teacher's praise, a friend's hug, a coworker's thanks. These tiny moments tell the brain, you matter. Your presence has weight. Your life impacts others. But after retirement, after the kids grow up, after the world seems to move faster than you do, these affirmations become rare. And when your contributions fade from view, your motivation begins to fade with them. Signs you might be feeling unneeded. You no longer feel excited to get dressed in the morning. You avoid conversations because you feel out of touch. You don't offer opinions anymore because no one asks. You stay quiet at family events, not because you don't care, but because you don't feel included. You ask yourself, would anyone notice if I just stopped trying? That question is not dramatic, it's honest, and many seniors carry it silently in their hearts. What this is not, it's not selfishness, it's not attention seeking, it's not weakness. It's a very human need to feel acknowledged, valuable, and part of something bigger than yourself. What you can do to reclaim your voice and visibility. Let's explore gentle ways to feel seen again, not by demanding attention, but by quietly reawakening your place in the world. 1. Share your wisdom, even if no one asks. Write down one story from your life each week. Record a voice message of advice to your grandchildren. Offer your perspective in a conversation, even briefly. You've lived decades longer than most people in the room. Your insight is needed, even if they don't know it yet. Don't wait to be asked. Just speak, gently. You still have something to say. 2. Offer help in small, quiet ways. Bake something for a neighbor. Call someone who's grieving, just to listen. Send a handwritten letter to an old friend. When you give, you remind the world and yourself that you're still here, still generous, still woven into the lives of others. 3. Be part of a group that reflects you. Find spaces where you're not the oldest one in the room, but the most experienced. Join a senior center, attend a weekly group or class, participate in online forums for older adults, volunteer with a purpose that matches your values. Being surrounded by peers reminds you, I'm not fading, I'm evolving. 4. Create personal meaning that doesn't rely on others. Sometimes the world is too distracted to notice you. That's not a reflection of your worth, that's a reflection of its noise. So begin creating your own rhythm of meaning even if no one's watching. Light a candle every evening in memory of those you've loved. Practice gratitude each morning. Tend to a plant, a poem, or a prayer. Say to yourself, today I will care for me and for life. You still matter, even when it's quiet. You mattered when you raised a family. You mattered when you worked hard. You still matter now when you sit in silence, when you pause to think, when you simply exist. Because your presence is a living library, and the world is better just because you are in it. If no one has looked you in the eye lately and said, I see you, you're still valuable, you still belong, then let this video be that voice, because you are not invisible. You are still deeply, quietly, beautifully needed by the world, by someone out there, and always by yourself. So today we've gently unwrapped 5 quiet truths. Your brain chemistry is shifting, and the spark is dimmer but not gone. You're carrying grief the world never acknowledged. Your body is tired in ways you've learned to ignore. You've lost the structure that once guided you forward, and you've stopped feeling seen and needed. Not because you don't matter, but because the world forgot to remind you. None of these things are your fault, none of them make you broken, and not a single one makes you lazy. You are a soul in transition, a heart still healing, a body adjusting to new rhythms, a human being who deserves compassion, not criticism. If you take one message from this video, let it be this: you still matter. Your pace is still a pace. Your breath is still a sign of purpose. And your motivation isn't lost, it's waiting to be met with gentleness. So tomorrow, don't wake up with pressure. Wake up with permission to move slowly, to choose one small thing, to remember that being here is already enough. If this video helped you feel understood, like the video so others who feel invisible can find their way here. Share it with someone who's been quietly struggling. And subscribe to True Senior Wisdom for more healing truths, gentle habits, and reminders that this chapter of life still has meaning, depth, and beauty. Because you're not done, you are simply beginning again, and this time with softness.